Well, thousands turning out to honor the late civil rights leader, including President Obama, who says that we must build on the foundation that Dr. King helped lay down.
We've got to keep pushing for what ought to be the America we ought to leave to our children, mindful that the hardships we face are nothing compared to those Dr. King and his fellow marchers faced 50 years ago, and that if we maintain our faith in ourselves and in the possibilities of this nation, there is no challenge we cannot surmount.
Joining us now, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter Judith Miller, host of Fox News Live's DEFCON 3, KT McFarland, and Daily Caller columnist Deneen Borelli. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
So our own Kelly Wright was there at the ceremony today, and he described it as being, momentous and joyful, but at the same time, still work that needs to be done. So did you all listen in today?
Yeah,
we had live coverage of it. It was very moving. What are your thoughts?
Extremely moving. I mean, this is just what Obama does brilliantly and beautifully. And to see him, he was so eloquent, and it was such a wonderful tribute to an amazing man. But to see them all lock arms at the end and sing "We Shall Overcome," I mean, I don't think there was a dry eye in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the importance of Martin Luther King, if you think historically, when you think of Gandhi in India, or you think of Nelson Mandela in South Africa, if it hadn't been for Martin Luther King and his nonviolent approach to usher in civil rights, we could well have had cities burning. I remember when Martin Luther King died, cities were burning throughout the United States, but we've moved beyond that. And we are now the only country in the world today which has really solved its racial problems.
Yeah.
China, Japan, Europe, we still have a long ways to go, but we are most of the way there.
And only the fourth non-president to be honored with a memorial site on our nation's capital.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing thing today, but I hope people will remember, not just today, but keep that memory going, because, Dr. King gave his life, he fought for civil rights, and it was nonviolence protesting.
But he also fought for social equality, and I was very struck remembering his words that the second part, social equality and justice, was going to be even harder than ending overt discrimination.
And that was the resounding theme today, talking about, social equality and economic equality, which he definitely did need to address, with the economy being, first and foremost on everyone's minds today.
Well, I think in some cases a lot of things were politicized today, some of the things that King's children said, for example. So I think the message really should have stayed on Dr. King's achievements, his accomplishments, how he gave his life for civil rights. But not to get overly political about this, but there are a lot of things President Obama could be doing right now today that would help our economic situation.
But think about where we are as a nation. We have an African-American president.
Oh,
one of the leading contenders for the other nomination for the Republican Party is an African-American. Martin Luther King never would have dreamed of it happening this quickly, and so I think good for us.
Yeah, female Secretary of State, I mean, being Hispanic is no longer. There's so much progress.
Yeah, Condoleezza Rice,
exactly.
have to mention her.
Exactly.
Yes. The all day long, I must say, Stevie Wonder's rendition of "Happy Birthday to You" has been stuck in my head all day, but I love it. And moving on to our next topic, some controversy to talk about at a private liberal arts school. This is outside of Chicago, is where it's going on. Elmhurst College reportedly becoming the first college in the country to ask about sexual orientation on its admissions application. Students across the country reacting to this.
That is inappropriate.
I think if a college or a university is asking the question, that they are intentionally saying, we want to use this to support your efforts in academia.
I could definitely see the benefit of it, but I think that they should ask that on campus as opposed to that being one of the first impressions.
And the school says that it is optional, says that it's using it as a recruiting tool, which I don't understand at all.
It's outrageous. It's none of their business, first of all, and I hope this isn't a quota thing. I mean, come on.
Well, it is, and they're now going to favor people who check that box to say gay, lesbian, bisexual.
That's concerning.
That is a place we don't want to go. And what a difference between Martin Luther King's message that we all want to be part of the same country and part of the bring us all together. This is sort of yet another way of dividing us
Well, we
into
don't
groups.
know how the college intends to use this information. And
But I
I'd
really
like
don't
to know
care
a little
how
bit
they're going to
more
use it.
about
It's pointless.
But
It
as long
makes
as it's
absolutely no
optional,
sense.
as long as it's an optional question like ethnicity or religion or any of the other optional questions, it's fair. It's what the college is saying. This is what we want to know. This is what we care about. That's their message. If a college student doesn't appeal to them, they don't have to go.
Yeah.
It should be focused on the merit of the student,
Yeah.
whether they have the ability to do what they got to do to graduate, and they should be focused on educating these individuals, not what their sexual orientation is. That's outrageous.
I agree. Well, comments?